me to take the heat. I done took the torch from every match. I don't take a break that isn't fast. Got too much I built to keep intact. I've been this hour what you need and lack. You reaching for the shit that we attract. I ain't saving face, this is fake. I ain't saving space for debate. You can place the blame on the fate. For the games you can't recreate. I know the hatred make you a mistake. I'm showing them too much hard to overrate. I'm showing emotion only to overtake. Put me down, time to pick up the pace.
Good evening and welcome to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for road course racing action in Season 3 of the KBueno Racing Network Truck Series, where alongside Nate Polite and Eli Comerford, I'm Francisco Bacallao. And guys, it's August, but we're still here road course racing in this series for the first of 2 trips this time in the campaign. We go into the States for the first time to turn left and right. And after 2 fantastic races at Montreal and at Mexico City last time out, we go here to the half oval, half road course to kick things off for the first time here in Season 3, Nate.
For the first time in KBRN Truck Series history, this means we finally get to have a taste of what we're going to see later on this season with this first bout here in the 4th race.
Yeah, great points there, Nate. I want to mention here, this is the driver vote. So we had a few tracks that the drivers could choose from, a few road courses, and the drivers chose this race here today. It's the first time, like you mentioned, Francisco, on a Roval configuration, although we have had 2 road courses previous in the season, first of 2 upcoming here. It should be a really exciting one, new track to the schedule, and look out for some new drivers looking for some success as we get closer to that in-season challenge.
And as we mentioned, that schedule right here, you see it, race number 4 of the season here at the Charlotte Roval before we go to the Hampshire Motor Speedway for some short-ish track racing there, and then we go to the bigger version of Charlotte, the 1.5 mile racetrack in 2 weeks' time. Then we really start to kick off that mid-season challenge, like you mentioned, over the stretch of that Charlotte, Volusia, Indy, Rockingham stretch of racetrack. So that's going to be really fun to watch once we get to that portion, and once we get everything settled down. It'll be a really big topic of conversation once we get to that part. And Nate, after here, the Roval, we do have, I would say, 2 more normal-ish tracks before we really go on that wild stretch of races. So here on the road course, what is going to be the biggest factor in drivers trying to maximize these points, knowing there's another one of these in the chase?
Well, it's something that the drivers have been talking about all day long, and that's just keep all 4 tires on the racetrack and point it in the right direction. Speed is great. We've seen some really fast laps be set by some really fast drivers, both at Montreal in season 1 and in Mexico in season 2. But it didn't matter if they weren't consistent enough to keep their tires straight. It was the driver that could keep the tires on the racetrack going in the right direction the entire time. That's who's going to win these races. Jonathan Juergensmeyer season 1, Stephen Maggio season 2. That's what we're going to look for here. You might have the fastest lap in qualifying, but you have to be able to put good laps together consistently all race long.
And at a track as difficult as the Charlotte Roval, walls on either side, it's essentially the Monaco of stock car racing, and these trucks are going to be tested very much so here tonight. And a driver that has seen success on road courses is our very own Jonathan Juergensmeyer, who through 2 road course races boasts a 1.5 average finish. Let's take a look back at last season's affair at Mexico City, where him and Kenneth Bueno had a elite battle for the 2nd place spot. And now joining us here in the booth is Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. And Jurg, you've been in the booth here with us before. You've been successful out there on the racetrack at the other road courses. What is going to be the key for you tonight to have another similar run here at the Charlotte Roval?
Yeah, just keeping the tires on it. I didn't qualify very well. I qualified 9th, so I'll have to make it up for the race, but I'm confident. I feel like a top 5 is maybe on the table. We'll see though. We're gonna see a lot of tire wear today, so I think there's gonna be a lot of comers and goers. There's a lot of good guys who qualified at the back, and no one's beaten Gabriel Tahari today, so not gonna win, but I'm excited.
Jurg, you mentioned keeping the tires on the track is the key to these road course races. Both at Montreal and at Mexico City, you had a great battle the entire time in those races. How do you keep all 4 tires on the track while simultaneously battling a guy so close for so long?
You just don't overdrive it, and if a guy's faster than you, the guy's faster than you. But I mean, that's my mindset at least. But like Steven Maggio at Mexico, he was just faster than me, so I didn't overdrive myself, and I took it home in second. But that's just sort of my mindset, and just keeping it smooth on the throttle and everything. It's gonna be tough today with, especially with that hairpin. You're gonna see a lot of slipping and sliding out of there today, so that's where you're gonna see people having to manage it. Yeah, Jonathan, we mentioned your previous success on road courses. Although we've only had 2 thus far in the series, you do have the best average finish of 1.5. Grace given that it is only 2. But I want to ask you, what do you think makes you what makes you most successful here at these types of tracks, these road courses, and coming into the season seeing 2 road courses? Is that something that you looked forward to when you saw the schedule drop? Yeah, definitely. I mean, don't forget it. I'm the goat of road courses so far in the KBRN Truck Series. No one's got a better legacy at the road courses than me. So it's just the way you have to complete the races. It's about using your head more than anything. I mean, you just see so many guys, and you're gonna see it today. You're gonna see so many guys going to the wall. So many guys overdrive it into the grass. And that's what I think is best about me, my racecraft. I just don't overdrive it, and yeah, we'll see how that goes for me today.
We appreciate the time you take with us, Jonathan, and we hope to see you out there on the racetrack, having some success and having some fun. Go out there, and good luck from P9.
Yep, thank you, good sir.
That's Jonathan Jurgensmeyer rolling off within the top 10 here after qualifying is said and done. And guys, this is going to be one to watch. Gabriel Tahari, we talked about it in last week's very briefly. Eli, he's going to be one of the ones to watch, set qualifying ablaze with a big margin between himself and second place qualifier. Let's go into our starting lineup here to see where our drivers are going to be rolling off from the grid. And like we just finished saying, it's Mr. Gabriel Tahari that gets the top spot. He goes out and sets the quickest lap time of 1:23.71, the only driver to reach up in the 1:23 second brackets, next to Steven Maggio, who got the victory over at the Mexico City racetrack last time in season number 2. Those two very good friends and teammates in the past, looking to go head-to-head in this battle here tonight. Third place goes to Colin Forrester. We've seen him have some success on road courses in the past. He looks to continue that here with Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who took the fight to Jonathan Jurgensmeyer at Montreal. So he's looking to reset his season and get one of his better results of the campaign. Fifth goes to Matthew Oplinger, looking to set in his first road course start of this series, alongside Duncan Paul with a great effort to get up into the top 6. He rolls off outside row 3. Michael Walls in the 7 truck rolls off in 7th. We've seen him have some stout road course runs. And Charlie Byer, who not only does he love road courses, he loves the Charlotte Roval in particular, and a top 10 qualifying effort shows the justice there as he rolls off 8th, with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, a pre-race interviewer, right there rolling off in 9th alongside T1A's Gabe Cazola in the top 10.
Starting in 11th, Kyle Benson, he lines up alongside AJ Green in the 75. Row 7, Garrett Hess alongside Randy Payne. Row 8, Robbie Troop starts in 15th in the 96th, and then Dominic Barbagallo alongside him. Trevor Haley and Kealoha Hankins in row 9, and then rounding out the top 20 of this field, Keelan Belsha and Brandon Showers.
21st, you got the 30 machine of Justin Johnson with the 45 of Kobe Webster to his side. Row 12, Mikey Neal in the 8 truck, and right next to him, a hard charger and Jamie Wright. 92, a 92 truck rounds out row 13 next to Craig Loggenslaughter. Right next to him, first start this season for Alexander Schumacher. Right next to him, Eli O'Quinn. Row 15, the 55 machine of Hunter McDivitt. Alongside him, the 91 truck of Donald Stern.
31st is going to go to Tyler Murray's number 2 truck with Jesse Moody, the Moo Moo truck, outside in 32nd. 33rd goes to Ryan Bogey in the 35 with Claire DeBari rolling off in the 41 truck in 34th. Anthony Falls from the 35th spot with Daniel Moore in 36th. Timothy Tyler sets the last qualifying time in 37th. Justin Rott, no qualifying time set here, most likely a issue during his laps. He starts deep in this field in 38th. Justin, one of the top drivers in this series, is very good at these road courses, has a lot of ground to make up. Well, that's going to be a topic of conversation throughout the night. And our last two to make the field here tonight are Nicholas Bingham in the 93 and Timothy Cook Jr. in the 9 truck to complete a full 40 truck field here from the Charlotte Roval. We do have some DNQs, as it is Andrew Davis, Jake Gumar, and Nick Bingham, apparently, who's actually in the show. He's out there on the racetrack right now as it appears. Or actually, excuse me, no, it is Timothy Cook and Randy Showers that have made the show, as they're currently out there pacing on the racetrack. So a few drivers that have not even qualified. That goes to show, guys, just how big of a field we have here, and especially in these early portion of the schedule. Nate, a lot of trucks tried to qualify for this race, over 40, and not all of them were able to make it. So as they serpentine down here in the backstretch chicane before this green flag, any last second thoughts before we go road course racing in Season 3?
Without a full field at a road course. These are typically the field thinners, and we don't see as many people show up to these as we see at the start of the season, but some DNQs here in week 4.
We'll see how things unfold between now and lap number 52. It's a long way, but no scheduled caution flags expected here in tonight's running. If there's a big accident in the opening lap, particularly that first corner or that hairpin, we could possibly see the yellow flag wave. But none on our forecast, as it is Gabriel Dehari and Steven Maggio that will be side by side entering the front stretch chicane. That's going to make this start very interesting, as they're going to be halfway through this corner as they take the green flag, and we're underway from the Charlotte Roval. Multiple trucks already going into the outside wall as Dehari leads us, all things considered, very clean through the first set of corners, as it's going to be Dehari leading away from Steven Maggio. In third is that 15 Akan Forster. He just gets ahead of Ethan Fonseca Moreno as they all file their way through here to this middle portion of the racetrack, the infield road course away from the oval, and no major incidents to speak of on this opening lap. Very impressive.
Really impressive, especially that turn 1. It gets so thin, but there's going to be another tough corner right here, the hairpin at the end of the road course section. You see guys tend to pile up here. They're going to slide the tires. Look at the 74 making the dive on Forrester.
Oh, and there was almost contact with Opplinger with Forrester, as Moreno made a strong move on that hairpin to get up into the third place here, as we're back on the oval. This is the back half of the lap, which tends to go by quicker. You see Dehari have about a 5 trunk length lead. Then the first side-by-side fight is back with Charlie Byers. It looks like there's a move to the inside, possibly for Fall. It appears like no. Cazzola with a great start. He's up to the 9th spot, as I believe Charlie Byer missed the chicane. He missed the backstretch chicane. He's going to have to give up that time per iRacing. So he's letting that time bleed on the outside. Eli, trouble for the 52. He's going to be able to recover that. But as it stands right now, Dehari leads the first lap, but Steven Maggio's not letting him get away.
Yeah, Steven Maggio, previous winner here at a road course. I want to bounce back to what you said about Byer. Coming into that 52 truck was a little bit of my dark horse. You know, we know he loves this Charlotte Roval. You know, we know that he spends a lot of time on this track. A frequent road course racer on this service. Not what you want to see early on, but definitely if you're going to make a mistake, you're going to want it to come early. Unfortunate for Byer, but I have no doubt that he's able to bounce back.
And there you see the 52 Fairways machine. He's back in the 17th spot, as what a bobble by Trevor Haley just in front of him in the 16th position. As they've gotten scared away here, the top couple of trucks have broken away, and this is as close as we're going to see the field for the opening portions of these laps. Eventually the strategy is going to kick in, and we got word that the pit window's approximately on the far side of 22 to 23 laps, which is very much what we saw at Mexico. It was roughly the same lap count. So I don't think it's quite in play to one-stop this race, Nate, like we saw drivers saving fuel at Montreal. but it wouldn't surprise me if someone tries it. Someone tries something different to do so, or tries to pit at different opportunities to use fresh tires whenever they get the chance to work their way up to the front, especially with these top 3, which clear to be, or early on, clear to be moving away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, that's the fuel window that gets you to 22 laps. And when we spoke to Jared pre-race, he mentioned that the tires are wearing pretty heavily as drivers have gone through these practice sessions. So I would be shocked if anybody tries to go for a one-stop. The math says if you're going for a two-stop, you pit every 17 laps. Right? You pit lap 17, lap 18, and you pit lap 34, lap 35, and then you run that all the way to the end of the race. We'll see if anybody tries to deviate. I'm sure we'll see the undercut and overcut come into play. And we'll try to get that nice quick lap time, especially if the tires are wearing as much as we think they might be doing. And that also means that leaders are going to have to try to cover off attempts at an undercut. And this is a great look at this hairpin.
And let's
you
go
have
on.
to be so patient getting back on that throttle as well to not spin those rear tires. Going to kick up that rear end really easily.
And the weather tonight here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, it is not exactly forgiving. It says 89 degrees on the track temperature, so relatively cool here in the springtime. But you think about road course racing in general, these trucks, they weigh so much, they have so much power underneath them, believe it or not, but they struggle to get the power down. If you're not careful, you can burn through your rear tires, you start to lose some of that drive off, and that could cost you a lot of time. And Stephen Maggio has seen success here on road courses in the past in this series, so he's going to make sure he keeps that 36 right in front of him, who's also been successful, especially here at the Roval. Whilst he did not capture the victory in 4 wide when we went here in Season 7, finished second to Brandon Hawken. That's just it, Eli. He finished second to Brandon Hawken, who essentially won, I think it was 5 or so straight road course races. So if you finish second, that was essentially best of the rest, and that's what Gabriel Dahari has been able to do in the past. So to see him out here leading and having success early on in lap number 4, it's not a surprise to us.
Exactly, Dahari, a guy who shows a lot of success over the series that we cover here on the KBueno Racing Network. Looking for his moment to finally break through. Like you said, that second place finish there, not what he wanted, but he knows he has the success on a road course, on a Roval like this track here in the Charlotte Roval. Definitely showing his potential here today, hoping to keep it clean. You know, like we mentioned earlier, tires are going to be a problem. Drivers trying to outbrake each other, locking, sliding. You know, there's going to be a lot of pressure on those tires, especially with these trucks, how heavy they are. They're a little different to other cars, to the Xfinity car, to the Cup car, a little bit clunkier. So it comes to a little bit of a challenge, Francisco, you know. In these trucks, we got a 52-lap race, relatively long. So it's going to be a bit of a mental challenge, trying to stay patient, trying to keep that car clean, trying to keep those tires good. As we see the 95 truck of Gabe Cazzola get a little bit out of shape there in the bus stop, but luckily for him, he's able to keep it straight as he continues coming out of Speedway Turn 4.
And Gabe Cazzola is another one of those drivers who has had road course success in this series and in many series. He loves these road courses, runs a lot of sports car races, and he feels a lot of his stock car success is attributed to all that track time, all that experience running different vehicles. As, fight for the race lead, Stephen Maggio got to the outside of Dahari in the opening set of corners and has taken it here on lap number 5.
A great drive from Stephen Maggio, just getting the power down and trying to show off some expertise over that 36, trying to put his mark on this race and establish dominance. Say, look, Dahari, you ran away from me here at the start. I'm going to go right and punch back. Let's see if Dahari's got any counter punch coming into this hairpin. He's going to be a lot more patient and just wait on that one truck. Tries to get to the inside a little, coming back onto the speedway, but again, it's so tough to get that power down, especially because you're also trying to get the power down while you're on the banking. But let's go back and let's take a look at exactly how this pass was made by the one of Stephen Maggio. He's pretty far back as they come into this front straightaway chicane.
Oh, look at that.
Mistake. Oh, there it is. Hopped up on the turtles, the 36, and that allows the one to just drive down beneath him. That's something that's going to go in the notebook for Dahari. He knows that he messed that up. He knows what he did wrong. Now he's just going to keep pace with the one truck. And he's going to try to force the one to make that mistake. Or at the very least, not make that mistake again himself if he's able to get the lead back.
And this top 3 has really bunched up here at the same time, Nate, because Moreno's right back in this fight, and he's no slouch at these road courses. We've seen him win multiple road course races in different vehicles, including these trucks. And he has had success here. He's had success at Montreal, if you remember, was battling Jurgensmeyer for that race win in that Fuel Mileage Classic. I think this top 3 right here, they definitely look like they're pretty much even.
Yeah, pretty much even there. A lot of heavy hitters there. You know, no surprise seeing that one of Steven Maggio up front at a road course, but we see that 74 of Moreno. Obviously a well-decorated driver across the series that we cover on this network, and across all series that he's a driver in. Maybe not the best career he wants in this truck series, maybe not the best start to the season, but right now definitely an opportunity to go ahead and battle and contend for a lead as we see the 36 of Dahari right on that back bumper of Steven Maggio. Gonna see if he can apply some pressure coming into this backstretch chicane as he goes up high on that one truck. We'll see how we can figure that out. Looks like nothing punching there for the 36 of the 74, making up some more room on that 36 of Dahari.
What a move that was by Dahari. Actually got Maggio loose off of Speedway turn 4, and that goes to the fact that we're running road course packages aerodynamically and kind of stability here, and the trucks don't have the same kind of aero as they do on the ovals. So that explains a big reason how Maggio was able to get sideways unlike he would. As look at the run, Moreno gets off the final corner, peeks to the inside of Dahari, hoping to take that second spot away, but you could expect this 36. He's going to fight this one because he feels like he can get back up there and not only catch Steven Maggio, but get back past him. He was the former leader of this race, but you see right there, Dahari, great job in defending Moreno, who's not going to let that fight get away. He's going to keep applying pressure to that 36. That's what Maggio wants to see, is those two squabbling away. And look a little bit further back. Here's Matthew Opplinger and Colin Forster. They also started in this top 5, and they haven't gotten away either. They have 5 seconds on now 6th place runner Michael Walls here, Nate. But this top 5, they're within about 2.5 seconds. This is not something we've seen at any of our previous road course editions so far, even through just our 7 laps.
Yeah, not at all. We typically see 1, maybe 2 drivers really drive away from the rest of the field. So to have everybody under this blanket, it does a couple of things. And I think, again, we go back to the, talks about strategy and the possibility of making an undercut. Not sure how much time you would gain getting fresh tires by just a lap or 2 over the driver out in front, but you got to think that's on the mind of these drivers that are running within 3-4 seconds of the leader, because we have seen that be a number that can matter in road course racing. So we see them put the 69 truck a lap down. And that's another thing, as we get closer to lap traffic, that will play a factor. These leaders are going to have to be a little more aware, because the lap down trucks, they're not going to be driving as smoothly as some of these drivers up here are.
It's always one of those factors at road courses that play a huge role. I've lost a race because of lap traffic to Ethan Fonseca Moreno at Montreal. And every driver knows that they have to deal with it, and it can cost the race leaders. They're running at such a different pace compared to the other trucks. It's 3 wide through this middle portion. That almost didn't work, but Cazzola makes it work to take back the 10th place spot on AJ Green and Randall Payne, as they almost make contact back there. And how about Randall Payne here, Eli? He's had a good start to season 3. He's up in the top 5 in the standings, and right now running 11th.
Yeah, Randall Payne, a driver that's kind of broken through early on in this season, as he continues here in the Charlotte Roval, sporting those popcorners, or I'm not sure exactly what that sponsor is. Still a good-looking truck, but up here in that top 10, like you mentioned, top 5 in points, and that gets important here as we get closer to that in-season challenge, Francisco. In-season challenge will start after the New Hampshire race, which comes directly after this race, sponsored by Shoei Sportsbook. So definitely want to continue to stack those good runs as he continues to do that. As we see the 74 Fonseca Moreno put pressure to the bumper, that 36 of Dahari. We'll see if he has anything coming into this front stretch portion. Looks like nothing hitting there, but ooh, a little bit of abusing those turtles a bit. See how those affects the tires. But that 74 of Moreno sticks is still in P3.
I think the bigger concern for Moreno over that part of the racetrack is any time he might have to give up. I know iRacing has a specific track limits through those chicanes that they want you to abide by, and it's very razor thin. These drivers, much like the real drivers, they push the edge every single lap, every time out there. And Moreno, at least it doesn't appear like he had to bleed off any time. He stays within 3rd, within half a second of your 2nd place runner, Gabriel Dahari. But going back to Randall Payne and the 20, he's done a good job so far, has drifted back to 12th now, maybe under fire for that spot from Robbie Troop, looking to have a top 5 run. And on the other side of that, a driver we didn't mention during our starting lineup, who's had his fair share of issues, is our former points leader, Nicholas Bauman. At the Auto Club race, it was deemed that late yellow flag by the 88 truck was intentional as to not save the race truck, and he was given a 1 race suspension, has to serve a drive-through and end of line the following race at New Hampshire and received 0 points for his efforts at the Auto Club Speedway, handing the points lead for the time being to Jamie Wright. But that's a huge blow to Nicholas Baumann, who had a really, really great start to the season and already has to face some early drama, Nate. But he's definitely shown like he's got some speed. He's definitely looked like he's fast, but that's going to be a huge shot to his chances at potentially winning the regular season championship and possibly his seeding for the midseason challenge.
Yeah, it's certainly going to impact his seeding for the midseason challenge. I think full season, he's going to be fine to make the chase. He's a really fast driver, but with losing the points for the race last week, plus being suspended next week, it essentially works as a 2-race suspension in the point standings, right? You get 0 points for 2 different races. That's a huge goose egg to have on your resume. That's going to hurt his chance to, fight for a top seed in the chase, fight for that regular season championship, and in the in-season challenge that starts up in 2 weeks' time.
And this cluster of cars right here, particularly behind AJ Green from 11th on back, they're kind of a train here. They're not exactly nose to tail in a traditional sense, but they're within about half a second of each other, give or take, all the way back there. I've been noticing that over the last few laps. You see it right there being headed by Cazzola, actually. And it goes all the way back to Trevor Haley, who's drifted back to 12th. And shout out to Justin Rott. Remember, he started in the 38th spot. He is up to 17th after 10 laps. That is not an easy task to pass over 20 trucks in 10 laps at this road course of all of them, Eli. So we're at a great start here by Justin Rott, who can still salvage his day and possibly get a top 10.
Yeah, really impressive there from that 76 Go Racing Inc. machine. That many drivers in so little laps, that's kind of unheard of at a road course, let alone the Charlotte Roval. As we see him on board, trying to make a move on that 52 of Bayer. Looks like he might complete that pass there. Looks like he will. Yet another truck pass for that 76. Francisco, this is impressive stuff we're seeing.
This is a great run here by Justin Rott that could get talked about, and not just for the sake of here in tonight's show. Like we mentioned in the pre-race, this is not our only road course of the season, guys. We go to the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in the Chase, our first ever road course race in the Chase. And whilst that track is not exactly a lot like the Charlotte Roval, it's a road course race nonetheless. You have to worry about track limits. I'm sure a race like that will will give Rott the confidence come chase time. We expect him to be fighting for the championship, and a race like a road course could give me either big opportunity to gain or lose points for someone who could be fighting for this championship at season end.
And a lot of it for Rott as well. I think it goes to show that keeping all 4 tires on the track pointed in the right direction is big. Right? He's been able to keep of course he's fast, but keeping the truck on the track, he's able to pass those guys that aren't able to do it, and that's an easy position. He's had plenty of hard ones too.
And this has been a fight that we've been seeing for multiple laps. Look at the run Moreno gets to the inside as Dahari makes a mistake, and now he has to pay the price. Moreno sneaks up into second. All the while, Steven Maggio's driven away to about a 2.9 second lead over these two. And possibly the tires going away on Dahari. And this is what we mentioned in the pre-race, or at least you did, Nate, is that you have to be consistent. Could the 36 be struggling with some consistency, having had the pressure from the 74, and maybe doesn't have exactly the amount of rear grip he would like? Colin Forrester, who was a little bit further back from this fight, got past the 19 of Opplinger, and now he's up into this 4th spot, and he's within 3/4 of a second of the fight for second.
Yeah, unfortunate there from that 36 truck. If I'm that 36 machine, I'm beating myself a little bit. Another mistake that we saw him make earlier. Definitely don't want to make those mistakes twice. But like we mentioned earlier, Francisco, in the pre-race show, Jurg also mentioned this earlier. With this race being as long as it is, it's going to be a mental challenge. Being the most consistent driver is what's going to get you near that top 5, come the checkered flag. It's all about avoiding mistakes, making as little as possible, and learning from those mistakes if they are made. There's a lot of race throughout this whole entire night, and a lot of opportunities for your peers to make mistakes, but you don't want to be that guy making those mistakes, especially making the same mistake twice. Francisco, not what you want to see, but still a really good showing by that 36 truck. Hopefully he can rebound and get back in contention for that lead.
We'll see if he's able to recover over the course of the next few laps. He's been dropping off of some of that lap time. The 1 truck continues to be one of the fastest on the racetrack alongside this 76, who's in traffic, but he's putting together good lap times without any clean air on his race truck, and now he's eyeing the 14th spot from Kaloa Hankins. So this charge up by Justin Rock continues to head in the proper direction. As we look back inside our top 10, as there was a move there by the 76, he does take that spot. Going into that corner is contact AJ Green and Gabe Cazzola off the double right-hander. Green gets the spot. Cazzola goes back to the 11th place spot, and these two have not left each other on the racetrack. Oh, contact! Randall Payne goes into the back of Gabe Cazzola, sends him around. Oh, in contact with Justin Rod.
Oh, man. Cazzola was trying to save it, and he comes down and he hits the 76. Heavy hit contact for both of those trucks. You see a little damage on the right front of the 95, and we'll see what that's done damage-wise as well to the 76, and take another look at what exactly happened to this 95 as he was battling with AJ Green. And this is what it looked like from Justin Rod's perspective. See up there, you can see that yellow truck is the 75, the white truck is the 95. They get all scrolled out of shape. And then a little bit later, Payne comes up there, makes contact. This is kind of blind as you come up over the hill. He just sees the smoke, drives to the bottom, and Gabe is trying to wheel it back straight. And they just come together.
Yeah, it was
that's brutal.
very much unfortunate for all drivers involved. They were all having great runs in this race. Let's take another look at it from above here. It starts here with AJ Green and Cazzola. They make contact, they keep it straight and lose time. Now Payne is thinking this is an opportunity to make a spot, looks to the inside of Cazzola but goes in too deep, misses the corner, sends the 95 around, who tries to gas it to save it, and unfortunately that's what collects Rot in it, who has big contact with another race truck, but luckily not the wall. Unfortunately for him, he's going to tumble down the order only to 16th, but he has a damaged race truck. We don't know to what extent him and Cazzola have those damaged trucks. I think Cazzola may not have as much damage as the 76 truck since he didn't actually make contact with anybody or anything. And you can see Roth there. He's struggling under brakes as now he gets a bumper tap from the 95. That left front is pretty destroyed. He's definitely got to have some wheel damage there, Eli, as that's probably going to halt his progress for now.
Yeah, and that's so unfortunate, Francisco. We were just talking about how great of a day that 76 machine was having with how many passes he made in such a short amount of time. What a hard hit there by that 76 truck. Really unfortunate, but that just goes to show the challenges of these types of tracks. You know, these road courses, there's low visibility in certain areas of the track, especially here at Charlotte with the different elevation levels. But that just goes to show, you know, one corner you're smooth sailing, having a great time. You turn the corner, the next thing you know, there's an incident there, and you just don't have enough time to react. Really unfortunate there for Rot, as he was having such a good day, and it definitely seems like a bit of damage on that truck. Going to make it hard for him, especially in the braking points, as we see that onboard camera, the truck right behind him looking to get around that damaged truck of Rot.
And here's a nice little battle within the top 10. Jurg finally gets a run. He goes to the inside, locks up the tires. He makes a little bit of contact with the 7 of Walls as Timothy Cook lets everybody by. And there he goes, moving up into 6th as Jonathan Jurgensmeyer passed Michael Walls as Jurg continues his climb up through the field as well. He is 5 seconds behind 5th place runner Matthew Opplinger. And looking a little bit further back up, Dahari has lost pace in this truck. He is consistently slower than your top 2, but on top of that, he is falling into the grass of Colin Forster here for this podium position, who's now half a second back. And slowly but surely, Ethan Fonseca Moreno is matching and at the same time occasionally going faster than your race leader. Not by much. That last lap, Nate, it was about half a tenth. But it's a long way to go. Mistakes can happen. Lap traffic plays a role. But clearly this 74's got some fight in him. He's up there being able to contend with Steven Maggio now in cleaner air.
And he was, you know, not really hounding the leader, Steven Maggio, the way that the 36 was early in this run. You can tell that he was able to maybe save his tires a little bit better. But I also want to note we're on lap 16. You can definitely have your first pit stop now. It would extend each of your last couple stints in this race. But if you want to get those fresher tires on quick, this is an opportunity for an undercut like we talked about earlier on in this race. And we'll see if anybody decides to bite before the one makes its way down pit lane.
Maggio gets by the traffic. The gap continues to shrink ever so slightly. It's now down to 2.5 seconds. As the gap for 3rd place also continues to shrink. They still have Randy Showers to navigate. As, oh, that's Randy Showers that misses the corner either to let them go or something, but it closed the gap up even more between those two for the time being. And looking back throughout this top 10, Charlie Beyer, who had that bit of a scare, now he appears to have moved up to 14th, taking advantage of those troubled race trucks. And now he has in front of him the 71 of Dominic Barbagallo and Trevor Haley. This is fight inside top 15 position.
Yeah, Beyer, great recovery there. We know he's good at this racetrack. Not surprised to see him climb back up those ranks. Might see him within that top 10, maybe even top 5, come closer to the end of this race. We'll see what he can do coming into this chicane here. Looks like he's going to get to that bumper, but not much there. Beyer of that 52 Fairways machine having a great day, regardless of his mistakes. And it looks like we have the 74 no, first one on pit road. Little bit of strategy coming into play, trying to undercut and see if he can come out on strategy ahead of that one machine of Maggio. We saw him earlier in that top 3. Bit of strategy coming into play here, Francisco.
And Kaloa Hankins cut him a huge break there. He could have slid in front of the 74 right on the pit exit, but he chose to let him have that space. Knows that's not his fight, that he just came out of pit road. And Moreno now will try to use the undercut to get ahead of Steven Maggio on the racetrack, who now makes his way off the backstretch chicane. We talked about this. Will someone try to extend? Will someone play around with a lap number? That's right on the cusp of splitting it evenly with about 3 17-lap runs, maybe an 18-lap run, and Maggio will respond. Here he goes down the pit lane. There's the scoring time, and he is into pit road for service here on lap number 17. This will hand the race lead over to Colin Forster for the time being, as Dahari makes his way down the pit lane as well. So interesting stuff here, guys. This is certainly different to the last 2 road course races that we've seen in this series, as Maggio makes his way into the pit lane. We're going to be watching very much carefully this rejoin, as there he goes getting right side tire service, and Moreno's going through the front stretch already.
That's how big of a difference those fresh tires for just a lap, by the way. Just 1 lap. This is the difference that we're about to see. Maggio pulling off a pit lane. You see the 74 rolling by. He's going to get it.
Oh, it's going to be really close here on the pit exit, and he is right behind Steven Maggio. That's what 1 lap can do for you, and now they have traffic to deal with. They're all for position, but that's going to really intensify the battle for the net race lead. Timothy Cook will let everybody go, and now Robbie Troop and AJ Green lay in front of these two, as the fight for the race lead is ignited once again. Moreno's going to be very aggressive here as they go into the hairpin quarter. Troop lays out wide. Now that'll allow Moreno to try and cut back here. He's got a really good chance here and a good run. He's got his tires warmed up. Maggio's still trying to get them up to temperature. Watch for a move, get to the backstretch chicaning line.
The adrenaline has to be pumping for Moreno. When you have a pit call like that, and it comes out successful, just as we saw, as we see into the bus stop, try to make a move onto that one truck. See if he can undercut him coming out of this corner here. Looks like he's not, but still, that 74 Moreno still hard charging coming into Speedway turn 4. That strategy call proving to be successful as he dips low on that quarter panel of the one machine, looking for that position. What a battle we have here, guys. Moreno, Maggio for the race lead here at Charlotte. Oh my goodness, guys. Fun stuff happening here on the racetrack.
What a fun battle that is on the racetrack. Maggio defending like he has to for Moreno to keep the eventual top spot. This is currently for 6th on the racetrack, but the 5 in front of them have yet to bring it down the pit lane, currently led by Colin Forrester and Matthew Opplinger. But what a battle these two have put on. And that's very important to see how Moreno gained all that time in 1 lap. He was 2.5 seconds, 2.4 seconds back when he made the trip down pit road and got right up to the back bumper of Steven Maggio on that pit stop. So this is very much going to be very critical information for both of those drivers when we eventually approach that window to make it to the end of the race. How early do you want to pit, and what side of the pit strategy you want to be on? And I think it's clear the undercut, very much the way to go. So if they stay this close, Nate, who's going to blink first is going to be probably who can decide this winner.
That's the big thing about that first stop, is it builds the notebook. Now we know for sure. It's about 2 seconds. We see Forrester and Oppliger come down pit road. Jurgensmeyer is going to follow them down. These guys are going to be even further behind than they would have been otherwise because they waited so long to pit. But they're also kind of shortening this second stint a little bit as well. And they're going to have a little more fresh tire as it goes on. They'll have, you know, a consistent 2-3 lap advantage the rest of the way in this second stint, and maybe that can help them eat some time out. But typically you're going to be on one of the extremes, either the undercut by a lap or you want to go over by several laps so you have a real significant tire advantage every lap of the next stint.
And here's Gabriel Dahari, who pitted around the same time as your top couple of cars, and he exits the racetrack in a net third place. Colin Forster did lose some time during the pit stop sequence. There he is exiting now after pitting 2 laps after Dahari, after applying that pressure to the 36, but now he's got fresher tires to his advantage. We'll see if the 15 is able to do anything with that. There you see the gap to Opplinger, who exited same lap as him, and the gap back to Jurgensmeyer, who could close that distance up to the 19, so we could see if the 00 makes a charge, possibly for 6th or 5th place on the racetrack. All of this depending on when the 7 truck of Michael Walls decides to bring it down pit road. Has yet to pit in this race. He leads officially here on lap number 20. And again, he would have to, if he wanted to make this race on one stop, he would have to get it to about lap 26. But I think it's going to be only a matter of time, and there it is, down pit road he goes. The 7 of Walls will bring it in. He does lead a lap, so that helps his case for points. And now the eyes can go back on these two for the proper fight for the lead.
That Michael Walls domino finally falling as we can get our attention back to these 2 trucks, the 74 Moreno and the 1 of Maggio. 2 trucks that have been dominant all day here. Obviously Maggio with those road course success. Moreno's still trying to do anything he can. Obviously we saw earlier that pit strategy come into play. We saw that 00 truck trying to get into that top 5 of Jurgensmeyer. If we look a little bit back earlier into this broadcast, at that pre-race show, gave him a little bit of interview and a little bit of cockiness from that 00 truck. We'll see if he can kind of prove his words, if you will, as we continue to watch the battle between Maggio and Moreno.
There's multiple lap trucks here to navigate around. That was the 92 of Riley Hayes that went off track in front of Maggio for a moment. Now to the outside goes the 45 machine. That's Cody Webster that they're going to navigate past here just prior to the backstretch chicane. Maggio navigates around before the braking zone. Now Moreno has to do the same here, and they both get by. So even with the 1 lap better tires in favor of Steven Maggio, that won't play a huge role throughout this next stint, especially with someone of Maggio's caliber who's good at saving the tires on any racing form. And he just has to run good enough to make sure that 74 does not get to him. And on the other side, Moreno's going to try to run just as fast to stay this far behind. He knows he doesn't have to be right on Maggio's back bumper. Just stay within this distance, and once it's go time to pit, you pull the trigger.
Absolutely, but the question then becomes for Steven is when does he pit? Because no doubt if Moreno beats him to pit lane by 1 lap, Moreno's going to take the lead this time by. So this is one of the rare situations where the leader is kind of at a disadvantage. And what that means, Steven is just going to pit right when that final window opens to make it to the end and we get to 22 laps to go? Or does that mean that he's going to try to just run it long so he has the fresher tires to run the 74 back down? It's weird to say, but if Ethan can stay closely in touch with this 1 truck as we see that gap really start to build as they exit the hairpin, but if Ethan can stay within that 2-second delta of Steven Maggio, he kind of has this race in his hands insofar as he can choose when he wants to pit and beat that 1 to pit road.
I think there was a possible mistake out of that 74 truck in that infield road course section. That's why he lost a lot of time all of a sudden. Now he's 2 seconds back of the race lead. So all that time gained, most of it anyways, has been lost here on lap number 22. So we'll see if he can try to reel him back in. We did see Moreno's, I think there was a lap truck in front of your leader sitting sideways on the racetrack. That's Keelan Belsha, and he stays out of the way as Moreno's able to call back to 1.9 seconds back as he still has to navigate the traffic. The biggest factor I would say is Moreno in that last long run was faster than Steven Maggio and was closing that gap. If that's the same on this run, then once we get to about lap, I would say 32, 33, then it really becomes very interesting on when do you pit. We saw Michael Walls go 20 laps, so if you want to be safe and pit with 19 laps to go in this race, which is in about 10 or so laps, if you're Steven Maggio, do you pit as soon as you can get to the end of the race?
I think you do, Francisco. You know, we have these two in Maggio and Moreno sitting at the chessboard, if you will, waiting for each other to make their moves. We talked about Moreno and how that time made up plays such an advantage. Even being that second place car, you almost feel like you're that driver in control. And he's making up those lap times, granted that mistake that he had earlier. But if I'm Maggio, I think I'm going to go ahead and pit first. We'll see how that ends up shaking, but definitely should be interesting to watch, and obviously will be very fun to watch as we see that 52 truck of Bayer right behind that 95 truck of Cazzola. A little bit of contact there coming out of that hairpin there. Nothing too much for that 52 truck. Still a little bit of a scary situation there.
This is the fight for position inside the top 10, currently held by the 95 of Cazzola, who went for that semi-spin just before the green flag stop cycle. Finds himself in the 10th position. Charlie Byers moved his way up to 11th and has been just ahead of that 71 of Barbagaya for most of the night. It seems a little bit further back is Kaloa Hankins, who pitted on the front side, and Trevor Haley. That's the immediate fight. Justin Rott, who eventually made his pit stall. You see a little bit of fixed damage on that 76 truck, but it doesn't appear like much was done to help salvage the race truck. He still sits in the 15th spot, so not a bad overall run, but with the pace he had, with the speed he showed, he definitely showed he could have definitely made a run towards this top 10 and possibly fought his way to a better result than what it seems like his night is going. And I want to say this, Moreno, that last lap, he was quicker. He was quicker by about 3 or 4 tenths of a second, and he has cut the lead down to 1.5 now, so he's continued to close the gap, but that's another lap truck that went around just behind the race leaders. Not quite sure who that was, but we're seeing basically a replica of that first run. Nate Moreno able to keep the tires underneath him just a little bit better and keep Stephen Maggio in his windshield, and that's all it takes.
And it was almost like he backed off to go and reset his tires a little bit, right? Let them cool off, let him get a little temperature back down into him, and then go back on the attack and go after this one truck, which is something that we've seen he can do before. So it's not too shocking to see. It's impressive that he dropped back as far as he did, and now he is kind of back on the charge, and that strategy is back on. And we're only about 5 laps away from that last pit window opening, which is where we would see this move have to be made, possibly, if it's going to be, you know, the defensive early pit from Stephen Maggio or a super offensive early pit from the 74.
And there's some lap traffic in front of this one truck, your race leader. He has to negotiate Mikey Neal and the 2 of Tyler Murray. Those two running 23rd and 24th, and now they're side by side for a moment before Murray goes up the racetrack and lets him go. Moreno was able to close it to 1 second on the dot, so this 74 truck clearly continuing to be faster. That last lap, it was a 10th. It might be more this time because it was roughly 3 tenths compared to what it was on the previous lap. And there's Maggio once again, maybe losing a little bit of time behind this 8 truck as he tries to stay on the lead lap for the time being, but not going to get a caution flag here to get a lap back, so it's only a matter of time before the 8 gets passed by the leader.
Yeah, Mikey Neal there showing the bumper there. Not exactly what the one of Maggio wants to see as that 74 truck of Moreno is hunting him down. Francisco, what a great run these last few laps has been for Moreno. We know he's hungry. We know he wants to prove a statement, and he wants it to be done here as early as possible here at the Charlotte Roval. And we'll see how that strategy comes into play, like Nate mentioned earlier. If they're a little more offensive, that one truck, speaking of, if he's offensive, defensive, we saw, I think that 95 truck of Cazzola a little bit out of shape there. Yeah, as we see that truck coming out of Speedway turn 4, not too much time lost there. Not a lot of battling going there. As we see the 52 of Bayer looking to make a move on this 96 of Thorpe, slowly inching in on that truck. What a good day there for Robbie Thorpe, though, here at Charlotte Roval. Not a guy we've seen with a lot of success here at these road courses. So if you're him, you've got to be happy. But still, in that mirror, you have that 52 fairways machine inching closer and closer to that back bumper.
Getting closer, and that's in the battle for the 9th place on the racetrack. So they've done a good job of continuing to move their way up through the field. Charlie Bayer has had success in getting some good results at tracks he's successful at, trying to see if he can get a top 10 at a road course once again, especially at one he's a very much supporter of. It's no longer on the real life schedule of things on iRacing, as there's Moreno all over now, the back bumper of Steven Maggio. Fight for the race lead reignited here at the halfway point.
Those tires are really coming too for Ethan Fonseca Moreno. He's there all over the one truck. He might have a chance to just pass him straight up. Remember, his tires are 1 lap older, so any advantage that he had from that pit stop is well gone by now. But nonetheless, he has driven all the way back to the rear of this one truck, and he is right in position to make that same undercut that could get him well in front of Maggio, should it be executed as flawlessly as it was last time.
And it's going to be a matter of time of who pits when. I think Maggio saw that in the first sequence and knows, I think he has to be the first to get onto pit road compared to this 74. And they're still a few laps away from getting to that point in the run. I think 19 laps to go is most likely when we could see a driver go. And we saw Walls go 20 laps, but we don't know how much pace he may be backed up to get it to that point. It's truthfully an unknown on our part. But one thing's for sure is this 74 is quicker than the race leader, and if he can get away past, that will be huge for his race, and just as big of a as it being for in his race for Steven Maggio, who's led most of the laps up to this point, will probably end up leading the most laps on the night after taking the lead away from Gabriel Tahari on lap number 4. But this is very quickly becoming a cat and mouse game of who's the first on the pit road. We've seen Maggio put up a great defense. Track position very much important here, but you can make the passes, has been proven by Justin Rott, who even with this damaged race truck is now finding himself still in the top 15. So whilst the truck is not quite what it was before the incident, it's not quite slowed down completely.
Yeah, and that just goes to show how fast he is on these road courses. This track especially dealing with a bit of adversity with that incident earlier, damaged race truck, still making do with what he has. Really impressive there from that 76 truck. As we see the 96 of Robbie Thorpe continue to hold off that hard-charging 52 machine. That 52 showing his nose coming out the corner. He's letting that 96 of Robbie Thorpe know that he's there and he is willing to do whatever to make that pass. Fire unable to do it coming into turn 1. It's still hard charging on that 96 truck of Robbie Troop.
And you see right there on the back straight where the gap grew a little bit on this lap, possibly a mistake by Moreno in the middle portion of this lap. He was all over the back bumper of Maggio, and now he's dropped to about 9/10 of a second. So mistakes have riddled Moreno of maybe some better opportunities or being able to stay as close behind the one machine as he'd perhaps like to. But that doesn't matter yet in this race, I'll say that, Nate, especially if he feels like he can't get past the one truck. I think as long as he can keep the tires under him, not make a major mistake, then this could still work out for the 74, especially because we're about 4 or 5 laps away from the pit window opening. And then we really start getting some questions answered. It really is a 2-dog fight at the front of the field. Gabriel Tahari, who sits in third, he's 9 seconds back of your race lead, and he is slowly falling into the clutches once again of Colin Forster towards the back end of this run. And they've all pulled away from Matthew Opplinger, who sits in 5th, who's only 2 seconds ahead now of Jonathan Juergensmeyer.
Yeah, thinking about that fuel window, Francisco, our estimates said that they could go as long as 22 laps, which means technically, if you really wanted to, you could pit probably next time by and make it to the end of the race, but that's not going to get you there pace-wise most likely. So we're still looking at that 4 to 5 laps, right? Lap 34, lap 35 is when we were expecting them to come down for this last stop. But if you're Steven Maggio and you are paranoid about getting undercut by Ethan Fonseca Moreno, it's almost certainly crossed your mind to come by right at lap 30 and stretch that last run as long as possible just to make sure you don't get undercut. I think he's going to beat him to pit road. I think he's going to pit 1 lap earlier than we would expect, maybe 32, 33.
And it's not exactly a given either, Nate, especially if it's in that order, because Moreno, even with, let's say, 1 lap older tires, which at this point I don't think is playing a huge role, but you get him a tire advantage of 2 or 3 laps, that's essentially a net 4-lap difference almost between what he's had to deal with on this run, and he looks faster than the one machine towards the back end of this run. So I think the biggest factor is if he waits to pit, how much time does he lose initially, and how much of that does he claw back? Because every time he's lost time due to a mistake, a small mistake, he's been able to claw back, and he's already back within half a second of your race leader.
Exactly, Francisco. You can't rule out that 74 truck making a move to pit road early. Like we saw earlier, that came out in his favor. And with the time that 74 truck has been making, that seems to be a real factor, Francisco. You know, you talk about how that 3-lap differential can turn into a 4-lap differential. Let's not overlook that. You know, that could be such a big factor, especially with how much time that 74 truck has made on that one of Maggio. The one of Maggio still able to maintain that lead, but that 74 truck is hungry. We'll see if within the next 1 or 2 laps if we have a taker between those two. But still, that one of Maggio holding off the 74 truck as Maggio and Moreno continue to duke it out, road course racing style, and honestly, in their own area code, Francisco. Just 2 drivers, decorated drivers as we've seen, duking it out here, making pretty much their own show out of this whole race here, Francisco.
They're having a great time out there on the racetrack, I'm sure, pushing one another to be fast and be quicker, and mistakes will happen at some point under this pressure, and they've had to deal with lap traffic the entire way through. Most of them have let them go, but you catch a truck at the wrong time, he can throw you off your rhythm, you can make a mistake, and that's probably what we've seen out of Moreno a few times, possibly even out of Maggio a time or two as well. You just catch them at a bad time, you slip that focus just 1 second, and immediately a mistake goes awry, and it could cost you a lot of time. And in a matter of tenths of a second, which a fight like this could come down to, that could play a huge factor when it's all said and done. We've seen that happen numerous times more recently on the KBueno Racing Network in these road courses affairs. I think just about every single 4-wide road course race in Season 8 featured exactly that very situation. We've seen it very much in SAC recently, Nate. So many instances where road course races are being decided late in the going. That's not something we're accustomed to seeing on the service. For a long time, you showed up to a road course and it was always one driver, maybe usually the same driver, but always somebody would get out in the lead and drive away, and it would never be a contest. I think from 2025 onwards, we have seen just a different sense of road course racing. It's usually 2, but sometimes we've had even 3 or 4 drivers really matching each other and making it a proper fight for the lead, and it has really changed the game for drivers trying to win on these road courses.
Yeah, and especially with these two here, Steven Maggio and Ethan Fonseca Moreno. There's no love lost between these two guys. They've had plenty of run-ins on iRacing and even on the KBueno Racing Network as well. They're going to be fighting fisticuffs for this race all the way to the checkered flag as long as they're able to stay nose and tail the way they've done for the last 20-plus laps.
This battle continues to go on, and that question of when do you pick continues to become a larger factor, a bigger impression. As we're at 21 laps to go, it'll be 20 when they get to the line, and you see Moreno trying to take a different line than Maggio through that hairpin. We've seen him go shallow, we've seen him go wide, but never trying to do exactly what the one truck does on that part of the racetrack. And I think a large part of that is to try and gain some time. Here's the battle for third now. Tahari has been losing time ever so slightly, and there is the 15 machine, Colin Forrester, who's been great in qualifying and practice, moves up into the top 3 for the first time tonight.
What a pass there by that 15 machine of Colin Forrester. Tahari going to try and make a move to get that position back. But we talk about Colin Forrester, a little bit of a quiet day, but quietly successful, Francisco. Consistently in this top 5 for that 15 Hooters machine. You can't hang your head on that if you're that 15 of Forrester. Having a good day, trying to pick up some points as we move in to the in-season challenge and ultimately the postseason. But we, a little bit of a quiet day for that 15, but still really successful to see the double zero of Jurgensmeyer, trying to make a move on that 19 of Opliger coming out of this chicane. Nothing doing for that double zero machine, but what a day so far for that 15 of Forrester. Quietly, putting down great lap times, able to finally make a move there and move his way up into that top 3.
Great battle inside the top 5 here for these two. This is a battle for 5th place. Oplinger has had it for most of the night. Jurgensmeyer started in 9th, but he's moved his way up. Now eyes himself potential top 5 to keep that average finish as best as possible for drivers with multiple road course starts. Now it's go time, Nate. It's 20 laps to go. We think that everybody can pit if they were to make it to the end. If they pit on this lap, they're approaching the backstretch chicane, and Moreno, you can see him. What an attack there. He's within half a second of your race leader. Do we see somebody blink here?
We saw Michael Walls go 20 on the first stint. We know they can do it. We know they can make it that long. It's a matter of will the pace drop off or not. Let's see who's going to blink. Ethan Fonseca Moreno,
What an
first on the
entry.
pit road, just like he was in a great entry. Hopefully he did in speed, just like he did in that first stint. He's going to get that 2-second advantage from getting those fresh tires fitted on first. Now we'll see what the answer is from Stephen Maggio. I don't think it's the right call to pit this next lap if you're Stephen, because you've already lost the time, and that 1-lap tire advantage probably isn't going to do too much. I would think he now stays out a couple extra laps to maybe have a 4 or 5 lap tire advantage on the other end of these pit stops and try to run the 74 back down with the fresher rubber.
Yeah, I think if you're Stephen Maggio, you kind of have to accept that you've lost the race lead on the racetrack right now if you were to pit next time by. Moreno has no issues. He exits the pit lane. Let's see what kind of racetrack he receives on the exit. And unlike the first time around pit road, relatively clean. No trucks in front of him in the immediate vicinity. A few lap trucks ahead, but nobody for position until you get to Michael Walls. But I think if you're Stephen Maggio, you kind of have to extend. You have to try to build yourself that tire advantage, that do something different. If you pit now, you might not have a chance to run Moreno back down, and we'll see what he does. And here's a battle. I think Dahari had gotten back past Forrester. Now Forrester retakes that second place spot. So those two are going at it. Let's see what Maggio decides to do through oval 3 and 4. He is not going to pit. I think he's listening to you, Nate. He's going to try to extend as much as possible. He's currently going to start his 17th lap of the stint, so he can probably do 2 to 3 more laps, and that's probably what he's going to try to do, is run it all the way to the end and see if those tires are going to do enough justice for him to try and maybe take the fight back to Moreno, accepting the 74 has taken the lead on strategy.
That one continuing to stay out there. Crew chief Nate there making the right call there as we see the one continue to stay out. Trying to do whatever he can differently. Like we said earlier, it's a little bit of a chess game, and it seemed like that 74 Moreno had his hand, and that is proving to be correct as we see the 36 machine of Dahari go on pit road. But like I said earlier, it was a little bit of a chess game. Moreno seemed to have it in his hand, and we're seeing that prove as he continues to log laps with a lot of lap traffic, or I guess shuffling lap traffic ahead of him. Sorry. That one of Maggio gonna have to make a little bit of a different decision here. Gonna have to weigh all his options. You know, they're both on that chessboard, and he may have knocked off his pawn, but you know he still has his knights on his board. If he can come up with a different strategy, put up those laps, and come out of that 74 truck, or at least be in a position where he can make a move on that bumper, the day's not over for Maggio. As we see him coming out of Speedway turn 4, and he will make that head to pit road. Looks like 2 laps after the 74 Moreno did. We'll see how that shakes up, Francisco.
It'll be 2 laps the difference, as look at all this traffic Moreno has in front of him. Not what the 74 wants to see, but I think he's close enough to really make this undercut work for his case. He had about a clean lap there, and even with all this traffic, he's gained time, so he doesn't want to lose time here in the process now that he has all these trucks in front of him. One of them will pit as, contacted with Alexander Schumacher. Gets him out of the way, keeps the truck clean, but you can see he's being aggressive, doesn't want to lose that time. There's Maggio getting service on his truck. The jacks will drop on the left. He'll be out and away as he takes kind of this shortcut here for the pit exit. And there's Moreno going past. So you see, not only did he jump him, he's got the race lead by about 2 seconds.
We'll see if those 2-lap pressure tires are going to be enough for Steven to charge back at the 74. But another part of this for Steven is patience. If he burns up the tires trying to run down Ethan right here, Ethan's just going to be able to drive away the moment he gets up into the dirty area of the rear bumper of that 74 truck. He's got to be, disciplined with this. He has to know that there is 16 and a half laps between now and the checkered flag for him to let those tires come to him and run down the 74, all the while knowing Ethan's got a nice gap that he can manage. He can go easier on his tires as well.
It's a different situation that we've seen those two in before. Maggio's been the one out in front setting the pace, while Moreno's had someone to kind of base that off of. Now they're in roles reverse. Now Moreno's the one out ahead, and Maggio gets to gauge himself against that 74. And 16 laps, which is what they'll take here at the start-finish line, is a long time around this race course. They're lapping at about 1 minute 25s, 1 minute 26s once they get the tires worn in. it really will be a good minute. Still over 30 minutes, or close to 30 minutes rather, still left in this race. So there's still a lot of things that can happen between now and the checkered flag. Maggio's cut the lead to 1.2 seconds, but like we said, Moreno on the long run with the tires has done a good job. You see Maggio having to go to the inside to navigate the traffic. They're really in the thick of it right now. No trucks between them as it's down to 1.3. It seems to fluctuate in these group of cars, Eli, and it's going to continue to do so as look at how much speed he carries through the middle as we approach the hairpin. Mikey Neal will get out of the way and he'll try to turn right under Kyle Benson in the Little League World Series truck, as the Little League World Series has been going on nationwide. And Moreno will get past. Gap is 1 second, and that's a lot of clean racetrack ahead of the 74 now.
Yeah, that one of Maggio hard charging, like you said, we're seeing those that distance fluctuate, Francisco, like you mentioned. That 74 Moreno rolls reversed here with that one truck of Maggio. As we said, as we just mentioned, times fluctuating. I believe that those tires are what's causing that, because if we see that 74 truck of Moreno, I believe he's consistently better with his corner rotation. He's better with his braking points. That little bit of a different apex there, he's consistently having better corner rotation there, and that's what's allowing him to continue the lead. But if you're Maggio, if you're Moreno, what you don't want to see is those lap trucks holding you up. You're just hoping, you're praying that they're going to, get out the way for you, be respectful, knowing that you are the ones battling for the lead, especially if you're Maggio. That's the last thing you want as you're building momentum. Those lap trucks getting out the way. We saw the 68 of Schumacher earlier with a little bit of trouble with the 74 Moreno. And, I talked to Schumacher earlier before this race, and he was talking about he's just going to play his role today. He's just going to try and stay out the way of the leaders, have a consistent race. But a big thing he talked about was staying out of the way of the leaders. And if you're Moreno and Maggio, you're just hoping and praying that every single lap truck in front of you has that same mindset.
It's a bit of luck and praying that goes on once you've made the pit stops, and it comes down to your performance and lap traffic at the right time. Jurgensmeyer going through the hairpin. He's moved his way up into 5th ahead of the 19 of Opliger. Looking to keep that top 5 streak going on road courses. This would be his worst finish, which is 5th, but that would still make his average finish be a really solid and remarkable position of 2nd. Nate, even with this 5th place finish here tonight on the road course, it would be an average finish of about 2.5, 2.6 if you want to be exact. That's still fantastic. I think plenty of drivers would take that kind of an average finish on road courses, especially the ones we have seen so far in this series.
Yeah, I'd certainly take it, that's for sure. Road courses were never quite my forte when it came to driving on any kind of NASCAR game, so I would 2 anything. I think I would take anything in the top 5 or even top 10. He's had a really good race, and a couple of guys have had a good race, fighting through adversity, fighting through some extra traffic from a start that wasn't exactly what they wanted to see. Jurg had mentioned it at the start of this race, but another guy that's had to worry about it is Justin Rott. He started way in the back of this field, had that incident to contact with Gabe Cazzola, but he's worked his way back to the top 10 now, and he's chasing after the 71 of Dominic Barbagallo. Taking that at Gabe as well. He's fallen a little bit behind his original starting position, and he still has that little bit of damage on his right front, so not affecting the truck to a point where he feels it needs to be repaired, but I think it's certainly hurting the truck a little bit because he's continued to drop spots.
He's definitely lost some speed in that 95 truck. Same could be said for the 76 of Justin Rott, as there's the send by Maggio on the lap truck. That's the 13 of Craig Lautenschlager they get past. And Maggio is cutting time, but not by a huge chunk. He's within a second. It's down to 0.8 to be exact. And this is the part of the run where Maggio has been quicker than Moreno. It's been this earlier front half of the run. As we move towards past the lap 10 mark of a run, that's really where we see Moreno's ability to hang on to those rears, I would say, has been proving to be a better job. So if Maggio wants to take advantage of this opportunity, it may have to be within the next 5 or so laps. Otherwise, Moreno might just be on the better half of his tire run. He misses the apex there. That's going to allow Maggio to gain some time. Doesn't make a pass attempt here on the hairpin, but he's right to the back bumper and makes contact with Moreno.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Francisco, mistake there by the 74 truck. That's the last thing you want, especially this late in the race, Francisco. This is not the time to do that. That one of Maggio unable to capitalize. Like you said, if that move's gonna happen, it's gonna come within the next 5 or 6 laps. Had a great opportunity there, unable to capitalize, but still a lot of ground made on that 74 truck. This is going to set up for an exciting next 5 or 6 laps, because if you're that one of Steven Maggio, it's go time, Francisco. It's time to make those moves. It's time to show your nose to that bumper. It's time to, if you have to, maybe rattle his cage a little bit. So one of Steven Maggio going to try and consistently run his laps, and if all goes well, that 74 truck of Moreno might make another mistake, willing lap traffic and all other factors. But we saw that mistake there by that 74 truck, and if that happens again, Francisco, be ready to see that one of Steven Maggio try and make an aggressive move.
And he's hanging right up to the 74's truck, and there's more lap traffic ahead of this pair as they continue to go around this Charlotte road course. And this is the part where Moreno made the mistake on the last lap. You see, he doesn't make the same mistake this time. He hits a little bit of the curb, but stays right in front of the one truck, and he places his truck on the right spot, right on the inside, doesn't let Maggio make that crossover run, but he's trying to do it anyway on the exit. They're nose to tail as the lap traffic will get out of the way. 12 laps to go, going into the backstretch chicane.
Steven, it's really go time for him. We'll see what he does. Go into the backstretch chicane. Ethan with a really good defensive drive, keeping low the entire stretch and just fading high going into the corner. He's going to get a nice drive off, be able to maintain that position. But another thing to mention, Ethan's got to go 20 laps on this set of tires. We've only seen that out of Michael Walls, and by the time he came down pit road on that first stint, he lost 10 spots. That's the pace drop-off that you see on these long runs. We don't really know exactly how bad it's going to look for Ethan. Of course, he's so good at saving the rear tires, but it's something worth noting as Justin Rott comes on pit road and is now exiting right up into the field.
And he just completed a 21 lap stint, did Justin Rott. Barbagallo had done 20 laps as well. So we've seen numerous drivers, more than one certainly, get to that lap number. And this is just in front of the race leaders where Rott is rejoining the racetrack. He is in the 16th spot, so it goes to show how far up the running order the leaders have gotten up to lap trucks. But you can see Moreno now feeling some of that pressure, not having a truck in front of him to help him guide. And Maggio, we've already seen a bumper here before, so I think it goes to show he's not going to waste any time or play any favors to Moreno. He's going to try to do whatever he can to capture his first win of his championship defense season. And think about Moreno, I know he doesn't like when we talk about this, Nate, he's told me this. We talk about the fact that he has only one career victory at the Chicagoland Speedway, but he's a great caliber of a driver. He's been in contention to win multiple races, and it was a race at Montreal that we saw him fighting Juergensmeyer in the closing laps. He made a mistake / had to pit because he didn't have enough fuel. He finds himself in a very similar predicament here. Now approaching 10 laps to go. Steven Maggio all over his back bumper.
You mentioned that tragedy at Montreal. Oh, looks like we have the bumper from Maggio on the 74 machine. Keeps it straight for now as we go into turn 1. That one of Maggio's knocking on the door, Francisco. He's hungry. He is going to knock that door down if Moreno doesn't open it himself, as we see him with a little bit of a different apex here, trying to do anything he can. Not going to come out to his favor. Going to lose a little bit of time there. But you mentioned for that 74 Moreno, only one win of this series. I tried to quietly mention it earlier in the broadcast without knocking him down. Because we know he is a successful driver, especially on the series that we cover, for instance. He's a driver that consistently gets wins. That one of Maggio trying to get to that bumper. Nothing too aggressive. He's on that quarter pedal coming off the corner. The 74 Moreno continues to get that lead. But like you said, Francisco, a mistake like that, granted a little bit of a different situation, you don't want to make anything like that again, especially in a series that you can win more races than you have. He wants to prove that here today. But Steven Maggio, a driver, our past champion even, a driver full of wins, full of trophies here in this series, he wants another one. We've got two different storylines here playing out today between Maggio and Moreno. We'll see which one ends up being the victorious one here today. But you've got to think, if you're Maggio, you got to get that, or if you're Moreno, you got to get that second win and prove yourself and prove that you belong in the conversation of the top drivers in this series.
And he certainly wants to put himself in that position. You know, when he brings up the fact that we mentioned that he has only one win, he sounds almost annoyed. Like, why do you got to keep bringing it up? It's a talking point. It really is, Nate, when you think about it. He's a great driver. Objectively speaking, he's put himself in many winning positions like he has done so here today. And these are the moments, these are the opportunities that he has to capitalize on to make people like us and other people shut up about the fact that he has one win and capture that second career victory. And nothing does you better than having to do a fist of fight with the defending champion who makes the move to the inside. There's contact. Up the racetrack they go. He forces Moreno wide, and now he's taken over the top spot. But I don't expect this to end there. Moreno not exactly significantly shorter, and we've seen how aggressive Maggio's been with the back bumper. This is far from over with 9 to go.
Been knocked down, drag out from the one this entire final stint. Ethan is not going to cut him any slack as they go to the backstretch chicane. Steven's able to get nice and smooth through there, coming up off the turtles. And with those fresher tires by just 2 laps, he might have a chance to drive away from this 74. But Ethan's been so good at saving that rear rubber. And again, the door is open. The invitation has been stamped and sealed and sent to the 74. Steven said, I used your bumper. That means Ethan can use his. He is trying to ride it through that front stretch chicane. Let's see what he does down here in 1. He's got a chance to send the inside.
He is letting Maggio know that you might have gotten past me, but I am not quite finished with this fight. 2 truck lengths now to the favor of Maggio to kind of breathe for a moment. But don't think for a second that this fight is over just because Maggio got by. We've seen Moreno have the better long run abilities on his race truck. So we'll see, even if he had that top spot, even while he was ahead, does he keep anything on the back of that 74? And you mentioned it there. Maggio kept that invitation open. We saw how aggressive and physical he was with the 74. That essentially allows Ethan to do the exact same thing in return if he finds himself in that position anytime in the next 8 laps. And just, if anybody's wondering, 16 seconds behind this pair is 3rd place runner Gabriel Dahari, who's retaken the spot from Colin Forster. Those two in a proper fight of their own for the final step of the podium. But that's how far back they are in case the top 2 find themselves in trouble.
And you mentioned earlier, Francisco, that if Maggio is going to make a move, it is going to be between that 5-lap window. And he definitely did that. As we see, he has the lead now, trying to play a little defense with the 74 of Moreno. But with 8 laps to go, 9 laps to go, when the move was made, Francisco, is that too early to push the issue? Is that too early to send a bumper? You know, you got to think, with that aggressive racing, maybe you just kind of hold back and try and make a more of an ethical pass in a sense. Because now you have 7 laps of defense, and knowing that 74 is really hungry for a second win in this series, you've got to be thinking he is more than willing to use that bumper just like the one of Maggio did to him. Gotta wonder, Francisco, is it too early to make a move like that? Because now that 74 Moreno, that door is open, like you guys said, and I'm gonna be the first to tell you that 74 Moreno will happily walk right through that door.
We'll see if he tries to open it. It won't be here with 7 to go as Maggio slides through the hairpin, but keeps the top spot for the time being. And this goes to what I said, Moreno's not gonna let him drive away. We've seen how fast Moreno is. He's not exactly going to fall back multiple seconds unless he makes a major mistake, and I think part of that is what Maggio was hoping for, as there's a move to the inside going into the backstretch chicane. There's almost contact. Maggio forces him wide again, and he hangs on to the top spot. Moreno clearly still has some fight left in him. This is going to continue to go down over the next handful of laps, Nate. Moreno will continue to get better and better as this run continues to go, as these tires age. And there's more lap traffic ahead. We haven't really seen lap trucks play a factor in the last handful of laps, but it will here soon.
Yeah, you know, again, Ethan's got the older tires, but he's been good on older tires all race long. And this group of lap trucks that they're getting ready to catch, these are guys that are running in the top 15, top 16 of this race. So that's not like slouches that these guys are coming up on. They're coming up on some pretty fast race trucks, and more importantly, guys that are battling for position. Typically, on an oval, when cautions are in play, guys are going to fight to stay last car on the lead lap, or stay just a lap down so they can try to wave, get the free pass. Don't have cautions here, so No lap cars have really been given any issues, but if they're fighting for position and we see 3 trucks ahead of Steven that are, it's gonna be really hard pressed for any of them to want to pull over and let the leaders by when they got their own points to worry about. It's gonna get a little hairy here in a couple laps.
And at least the immediate trucks in front of them include 2 trucks battling for lead lap position in Dominic Barbagallo and Justin Rott. And crucially, with Justin Rott, that's teammate to your race leader in Steven Maggio, the former champion of this series. So we certainly wouldn't expect Rott to try to hamper his teammates' chances of winning this race when they eventually catch up to the 76 and 71. And then possibly in the final lap or so, a huge group of about 5 or so trucks right up here with Trevor Haley, Kaloa Hankins or so just on the cusp of the top 10. That's what awaits your handful of leaders as they're side by side in front of Steven Maggio into turn 1.
Really
Yeah,
hairy.
no. Oh, sorry, Nate. Nate, you made a great point earlier talking about how we have these lead lap trucks in front of them, a lot of fast trucks, and I kind of want to add on to that. You said like it's going to be hard for those trucks to want to pull over, especially when they're battling for points in lead lap positions. But you got to think, next race, New Hampshire, that's the last race before the in-season challenge. These trucks are going to try and get as much points as possible to better their seating, come to that, and hopes to have a better position once that happens. And we see the 74 Moreno, a little bit of bump to that quarter panel. He sends the one of Maggio up, and he capitalized on that side by side. Maggio, Moreno for the race lead. Nothing going for the 74. We'll see if he can try and outbreak him come this bus stop. 74 Moreno has the edge here on the one of Maggio, side by side coming into this bus stop. We'll see if that 74 can outbreak that one. A little bit of contact coming into it. 74 Moreno with the lead coming out of the bus stop. Oh my goodness.
What a fight there between Moreno and Maggio. Moreno, the last of the late breakers, and with 5 laps to go, retakes the top spot away from Steven Maggio.
The carbon copy of what Steven did to him to take the lead last time by just shipping him into that hairpin, and he gets the power down on exit, which can be so tough to do from the inside of the track. It's a little dirtier down there. You don't get a lot of trucks down there. It's not really the preferred racing line to be in, but flawless execution from Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And we said it, Steven hit him. It was only fitting that Ethan was going to hit back. No love lost between these two, and I don't think we're done with the fight.
We'll see if Maggio has anything left to try and fight back with Moreno. You'd be dismissive if not to give him a fighter's chance. The defending champion of the series, 8-time race winner in season number 2, 9-time overall, looking to be the first driver to ever get to double-digit wins. Doesn't go for the inside move here, but there's going to be contact right there, trying to push Moreno through. And I think it's going to come down to maybe a mistake or so in these final 3.5 laps here, Eli. Still a lot can happen in this race with about 10 minutes remaining.
Still a lot to happen here in these 4 laps. I think we'll see a little bit of a boxing match here. You saw contact from the 1, you saw contact from the 74, pushing them out the way to make that position, doing anything possible. And both of those drivers are hungry. Obviously, the 1 defending champion yet to pick up a win in this series. A little bit of a disappointing start to the season for him. Defending champion Moreno, a driver with only 1 win in this series, who we know is more than capable. We're going to see blows between both of those drivers and see who comes out on top. But this is going to be an exciting last few laps here at the Roval. We'll see if Moreno can continue to build on his consistency and his overall better lap times. But that one of Maggio, you got to think he's going to do anything. He's going to try new lines. He's going to try new braking points because he is hungry and he's on that door as we see him come into that bumper. Not much giving there, but with these 3 laps to go, Francisco, we're going to see a lot of different lines, a lot of different braking points, and see if that one of Maggio can, spell up some Maggio magic here at the Roval.
That's his name in the Discord, Maggio Magic, and he may have to tap into some of it to find some pace, and he does a good job throughout that hairpin, but he loses traction on the exit. He's going to cost him a few tenths of a second as they go into oval 1 and 2. Now he's about 3/4 of a second behind the race leader, and the traffic's not done with yet. They're going to catch the tail end of that group before it's all said and done, so you still have to manage lap traffic here in probably the most crucial 2 laps of this race here, Nate.
And again, those lappers that they're going to catch, those slouches, they are some fast trucks guys that are fringe top 10, plenty that have run in the top 10 in this race tonight. It's going to be close if they can catch them in 2 laps, but if they get there, it is going to be a really rough couple laps. We see Charlie Byers slow. I think he might have missed that last chicane.
They have missed that chicane and ultimately had to give up multiple spots just to give back the time by iRacing. So a possible top 10 run here getting spoiled in the late going. And it's going to be up to him to possibly stay on the lead lap. We're at 2 laps to go. And Ethan Fonseca Moreno still holding approximately half a second ahead of Steven Maggio. Still a lot yet can happen in these next lap and a half or so. Maggio not going to give up. This is exactly where we've seen the 2 late changes come, and he's trying to find something here. Doesn't go for the dive bomb entering the hairpin, but he's much closer than he was on the previous lap. The lap traffic is much closer. We have had 2 road course experiences in this series. The first one was fuel mileage. The second one was won by the driver you're on board with now, and Steven Maggio, as he had dominated that race from the pole. Now, if he wants to be the first repeat winner, he's going to have to pass Ethan Fonseca Moreno here at the Charlotte Roval with multiple lap trucks ahead. Eli, we're working our way towards the white flag and what could be our most dramatic road course finish of all time.
Yeah, and if we see that one of Maggio within that bumper again in that hairpin, Francisco, I'm going to tell you right now, he is not going to be as friendly. This lap traffic is going to become a problem as the one of Maggio gets closer to that bumper in Francisco. Even with how good of a driver you can be, we saw that 52 of Bayer make a mistake. We know he's good at these road courses. We know he's good at the Charlotte Roval, but when you're in a bit of a cluster with these trucks, especially with these lap traffic, things can get confusing. It can be hard to try and make a move. The one of Maggio sending it deep. Oh my goodness, Maggio not able to make it work. But as I was saying, Francisco, with those clustered cars, especially within those braking points, you can't take your regular apex within that corner, and you have to improvise almost, and with that can come mistakes. And that's oh my god, Maggio coming outside into the hairpin. Like I said, with 1 lap to go, Steven Maggio trying to push the issue. They're side by side. Steven Maggio, Moreno rather, regains the lead from a hard charging 1 truck. But if you're that 74 Moreno, no mistakes with these last few moments in this race.
And there goes Moreno. He's not going to give Steven Maggio the inside. He's going to try to force his way in there. They almost make contact in the backstretch chicane. And Moreno's going to hang on. He's got 1 more set of corners and lap traffic to deal with. Nate Maggio, does he have 1 last opportunity?
Through Speedway 3 and 4, it was a chess match to open this race. In stints 1 and 2, it's been a boxing match. In stint 3, the last punch from Maggio, all the way to the last chicane, not gonna land. Ethan Fonseca Moreno wins at the Roval.
Electric stuff here. From the Charlotte Roval, Maggio spins across the line to come home in second by officially 3.29 seconds. But that does not explain the battle that these two have put on, as Moreno wins for the 2nd time in his career. Those 2 drivers have put on a show, a demonstration of class and speed to deliver another fantastic drive. And it's going to be Ethan Fonseca Moreno making it 3 for 3 with different winners in this series, with 3 different manufacturers visiting trips to victory lane. As you see for a moment there, it looks like he got lost on which Roval layout after running an entire race on the new version. I think he's trying to find the hole in the wall, possibly to go back to the front stretch. No, he found his way back on proper. But Eli, what a run by those 2. You look at the rest of the top 5. Forrester was able to take 3rd there in the closing laps. Duncan Fall with a top 10 finish. He's still coming across the line now to capture 8th. Here comes Gabe Cazzola and Robbie Troop to complete top 10 runs, as this is still fight for positions going on back here. Trevor Haley, Kaloa Hankins, Justin Johnson. Oh, this is getting chaotic here. Multiple trucks coming together. Here comes Charlie Bayer to sneak on by. He'll get 11th at the line.
What a battle there for position within the end of that top 10. A little bit of calamity there, Francisco. How about Bayer sneaking in to get 11th? That's going to help his case for the in-season challenge and overall the end of the season. But hats off to that 74 truck of Moreno, and I'm going to put my hat back on and put it back off for that one of Maggio for that battle that he gave that 74 truck. I was getting a little bit nervous there for that lap traffic. I was just mentioning as Maggio made it an amazing battle coming to that checkered flag. I was getting nervous about that lap traffic because we saw Bayer make a mistake just because of the sheer clump, if you will, of drivers going into a braking point, and luckily for the 74 and the 1, they didn't quite reach them before the checkered flag, because otherwise we could have seen a mistake. And that 74 right there, burning it down here at Charlotte, he made a mistake at a road course to not get his second win, but he picks up that second win today. And we talked a lot earlier how he doesn't like us mentioning that he only has one win. Well, Francisco, I think he can shut us up here today.
He also said he didn't like the fact that I said Gabriel Tahari was going to be a favorite going into this race, and I rightfully told him, then do something about it. I think he may have taken that personally, like the Michael Jordan meme, because he put on a clinic and he has delivered, and he is going to sit in Paul's setup shop victory lane for the first time in season 3, for the first time since Chicagoland back in season number 1, Nate.
It was a great drive and a really great strategy call as well. He was fast on the track, and he made the right decision twice on pit road, and then was able to back up that decision twice. I mean, he ran 20 laps on that last stint. That's a long way to go on tires, as long as we saw anybody go all race long, and he was able to drive it to the win. Hats off.
He captures the victory, which is his second of his career, first of season number 3, and it comes at the Charlotte Roval in a tense match, in a fight with Steven Maggio all night long, who comes home in second after spinning off the final corner. Colin Forster, what a run for the 15 machine, caps off a third-place run here after showing great pace all night long. Gabriel Tahari finishes in 4th after starting on the pole. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer gets a top 5 finish to bring his average finish down to 2.6, but still great nonetheless for Jurg. Matthew Opplinger finishes in the 6th spot, with Michael Walls finishing exactly where he started in 7th. Then you got to go back nearly half a minute to Duncan Fall with a great 8th place run here for the 61 machine, continuing to lock in his fall, with Gabe Cazzola rounding back into the top 10 after that spin he experienced in the middle of the infield portion in 9th. And Robbie Troop rounds out our top 10, Nate.
Outside the top 10, Charlie Bayer had an up-and-down race, a little trouble with the track limits, but made it home in P11. Justin Johnson survived the melee for P12 at the end. Kealoha Hankins comes home 13th. Trevor Haley, 14th. Justin Rott started in the Wayback Machine and drove a wounded 76 Chevy to the 15th spot. Dominic Barbagallo in 16th. Randall Payne, 17th. Craig Lautenslager, Garrett Hess, and how about Shuey rounding out the top 20?
Going deeper into this 20, we saw the 21st position, Mikey Neal having an up and down day, finishes in that 21st position. Right behind him in 22nd, that 92 truck of Riley Hayes, and right behind him the 45 truck of Cody Webster. In 24th position, the 2 truck of Tyler Murray. In 25th, Daniel Moore. 26th, Keelan Belsha. We saw him make a mistake early, was able to rebound and pick up a solid finish within this top 30. 27th place goes to the 55 of Hunter McDivitt. Right behind him, the 22 of Randy Showers. In 29th, Donald Stern, who's had a great season thus far, not the day he wants. And in 30th position, the 89 truck, the second place finisher last week, or rather third place finisher last week, in Jamie Wright.
31st goes to Brandon Showers, number 5 truck, with Timothy Cook Jr. finishing 32nd. Kyle Benson rounds out in 33rd. Congratulations on the Benson family on the birth of their child. Eli O'Quinn finishes 34th. AJ Green finishes in 35th. Jesse Moody finishes in the 36th spot. Ryan Bogey finishes down in the 37th spot. Claire Dabari finishes in 38th. Timothy Tyler rounds out in 39th. And Anthony Foss, after an early exit we saw him on the apron of the racetrack, rounds out our 40 truck full field here from the Charlotte Roval. We currently don't have our race winner in the booth for the time being, so let's see if we can find somebody else to talk to. And so we'll skip down the order for the time being. And Nate, you're going to be caught up with our second place finisher, Steven Maggio.
Hey, Steven, how's it going? Welcome to the booth, and congrats on a nice P2 run here at the Charlotte Roval. And, you had a bit of a chess match strategy battle with Ethan for the first 2 stints of this race. And just take me through what that was like trying to command that strategy in the cockpit.
Steven, I
we may
believe
not
you're
have
muted.
Steven here.
I think he went back. Looks like we do have Ethan now, so I'm not sure if he was expecting to get talked to by us. But now that we do have Ethan, we'll bring him up here and talk with our race winner in Paul's setup shop, Victory Lane, where for the first time in season number 3, it is the 72 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And Ethan, what a run it was for you. You started just in that second row. You drove past Gabriel Dahari eventually to get
Please
up
play
into
my song.
second. Well, I don't think it's in the server right now, but
Oh,
you have put on a great show, Ethan. That's exactly the kind of performance you were hoping to see out of yourself and be able to put on this road course. You fought hand and tooth and hard against Steven Maggio, and in the final few laps, you exchanged positions again, and it was you that came out on top. Talk us through what that battle was like from your perspective of what it means to win here in Season 3.
oh man, that one was not easy at all, bro. My arms are like jello right now. But no, yeah, it was just hard fought battle, man. Knock each other out the way. That's what it's all about. So it makes it fun, and it's always good to have battles like that with them.
We saw you guys exchanging positions, going through lap traffic, pulling away from the field. Shades of Montreal with you and I there in those closing laps. And Ethan, your win at Chicagoland prior to this one being your first one, this being your second one. We didn't see you run too many races in season number 2. Now that you're back in a more consistent effort in season 3, what does this win do for your momentum and your overall standing situation as we get into the meat portion of the schedule?
You know what? This gives me a lot of confidence because I can say I have a win this season and not Jonathan Jergersmeyer. So yes, I'm calling you out. But yeah, definitely needed this because I was definitely like 20th in points or something like that. So I'm trying to get myself up there and try to get back to who I was, where I was before I left off. It's a little bit longer process right now, taking a bit of time, but we'll get there. We'll get there. It's not too long of a season, but it's definitely like a long way till the end. So, um, just gotta keep putting in the time, and um, I'll eventually get back to the self that I used to be. This is a good step forward.
Proving the doubters and proving the naysayers wrong, like us in the booth who kept talking about the one win. Now you can say, hey, it's 2 wins, and you can also prove that to your teammates in there in Dark Horse Racing. Ethan, before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and the whole 74 truck team?
I want to give a shout out to my bird that's yapping in the background right now. He's just screaming at the top of his lungs. And shout out to the broadcast team, my teammates at Dark Horse Racing. What's it called? Trevor Haley, uh, Mr. Timothy Tyler, Nick Bauman, who's suspended. Um, nice. And Brandon Showers, Randy Showers, everybody there. You know. Um, I also want to flex on them that I have a win. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
You get to hold that over their head until they can make that happen. And Ethan,
Oh, one more
oh,
thing, one more
oh,
thing. Shout out to Juan Escamilla who did not even show up tonight after doing all that practice for nothing. That's it.
I remember them doing those laps earlier today and even yesterday. So where are you, Juan? We miss you out here on the racetrack. We hope to see him soon, and we hope to see you out there next week from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Ethan, we are going to be at Daytona, so hopefully we get to see each other and send one for the group chat
I'm
here.
I'm gonna be in Austin. Actually no. I'll be back here. I'll be back here. My flight's coming back. But I was gonna say, if not, I was gonna be on Austin Doran's sim and race on that.
Well, there
So
you
yeah,
go. There you go. Problem solved. We saw Keelan try to race on Lawson's setup. I think it was last week, and it didn't quite work out. Lawson never got back to him, but we'll see you out there at Daytona, and we'll see you back here in New Hampshire next week, Ethan. Congratulations on your second career victory. We hope to see you out there.
yes sir. It's gonna be a party in Daytona.
That's Ethan Fonseca Moreno's second career victory, and it comes here at the Charlotte Roval. Very much something he was looking forward to, Nate. About time for him. And on the other side of it all, it is Steven Maggio who finishes in second, and you're going to be caught up with him, Nate.
Hey, Steve, we got you this time?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
And no worries. Congrats on a nice P2 run today at the Charlotte Roval, and like you had a great chess match kind of strategy battle those first 2 stints with Ethan. Take me through what's going on in your head as you're trying to drive the car and crew chief the car all at the same time.
What was going through my head was I wish I didn't have to pit again because I knew that was opportunity. And any opportunity when you're leading is opportunity to lose the lead. So I was trying to just think it out, and I knew he was probably gonna pit. He only did 16 laps on the first run. So he had to do either 2 laps, or he had to do either two 18-lap runs, or he was gonna do 17 and run really long on the last one, which is what he ended up doing. Which I kind of had a feeling because he wanted to try to short pit me, but I didn't want to just have one lap fresher tires because I thought he would come out ahead of me no matter what. Um, I don't know for sure now though because looking at where we came out, he was only 2 seconds ahead of me. I was expecting it to be more, and I think maybe if I'd only pit one lap after him, I could have barely come out in front of him still. But I liked having the two-tire advantage. He didn't come out that far ahead of me. And with lap traffic, sometimes that costs the leader time, and that's helping me if I'm trying to overcut. So I don't regret the strategy. I just couldn't pull away once I got by him. So I'm pretty bummed about that because I felt like I had done everything right, and then I just couldn't pull away. I don't know why. I was so much faster than him behind him the first time, and then he got back by me, and I was still like so much faster than him through the infield section. I don't know if I saved my tires. I mean, I did have fresher tires, but like I would gain 4 tenths through turn one. I don't know what turn the hairpin is, but turn one through the hairpin, I was gaining a bunch of time, and I just didn't when I got in front of him. So I don't know, that's just a bummer for me, I guess.
And then after those pit stops, you got to fighting with Ethan on the racetrack, and it got physical, especially down in that hairpin. Take me through that, kind of trading blows with the 74.
Yeah, I mean, there's no there's no shortage of contact between me and him on the KBRN channel. I think most people that watch know that. I wasn't gonna race him dirty. I mean, it's just so hard to pass. It's a very hard track to pass. And I had been doing the like go to the outside, try to cross him over. I did it a couple of times, and it was just getting so close, but I just couldn't fully get it. So I tried to like fake the high and go low, and I broke just a tiny bit too late because I didn't want to send it as hard as I did. But I mean, I did, and I got the lead, and I was thinking, okay, now I just got to pull away because, you don't do that and expect to just not have any contact if he gets back to you. And I couldn't pull away, so I think I got held up a tiny bit in lap traffic, and that let him get close enough to where he was able to give me a tiny. I don't even know if he actually hit me, but he would have hit me. I think I like overdrove the corner a tiny bit because he was going to hit me. So we were side by side going down into the backstretch chicane, and I mean he just kind of used me up, which fair game. So and at that point I was close, and I wasn't close enough going into the final chicane because he did a very good job defending on the last two laps of making sure he was into the inside. I think he actually broke really early on the last lap going into the hairpin to make sure I couldn't punch him out of the way, and that forced me to the outside. And I thought it was going to stick, and it just barely didn't stick. I was so close, and after that backstretch chicane, I was too far away to do anything on the front stretch without just cleaning him out, and I'm not going to do that. So I'll have to settle for the P2, even though I'm really bummed about it.
And then looking ahead, next week you get New Hampshire, the Magic Mile, flat track, and then you get to the in-season tournament. You know, first part of this season kind of in the rearview mirror. What's the outlook the rest of the way?
Hopefully better than the first couple races, although they weren't terrible for me. I mean, I got third at Daytona. I mean, I really wanted to win that one. Really wanted to win this one, but I mean, still two good runs there. Vegas, I got some damage on the last run, and we never got a caution, and then I had to miss Auto Club. But I think I got some good momentum. It was fun battling Ethan. I knew that it was going to be a lot harder tonight than it was last season because Ethan's here. I thought Opliger would be a little bit better. I thought Gabriel would be a little bit better, but yeah, the competition's higher this season, and I feel like I'm still holding my own. So I'm looking forward to the next couple races. If we can get some green flag runs, the racing will be fun at the front with the guys that are racing more consistently. So I mean, that's just to me, that's what makes or breaks the race. It's just if we get green flag racing, it's really fun, and then if we don't, no one wants to have a wreckfest. So hopefully we can just get some green flag racing and enjoy the long runs and have fun battles like I did tonight.
And then before we let you go, Steven, is there anybody that you wanted to thank or shout out for this P2 here tonight?
Yeah, shout out to everyone in my voice chat: Jamie Wright, Randy Payne, Gabriel Dahari, and Shout out you guys in the booth. Thank you for broadcasting. I feel like the road courses are putting on bangers for you guys in the booth. I mean, last season you had Jurgen, Kenneth going at it. Then tonight you had me and Ethan going at it. And the first season you had Jurgen, Ethan going at it. So these road courses are great for you guys. And shout out you guys for running the series, all the admins and the owners. Congrats to Ethan on the win, even though I really wanted to beat him. And that's about it.
Thank you so much for
wait, hang
joining
on one
us.
sec. Sorry, shout out the GOAT guys, Justin, Micah, Jerg.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Steven, and congrats again on a nice P2 run here at the Roval.
Thank you guys. Have a good one. God bless.
That's Steven Maggio finishes second. And great stuff there, Nate. As also one second time tonight that the driver remembers last second. Oh wait, we gotta thank somebody else. We'll see if Colin Forrester. We'll see if he keeps this going as we slide down to our third place interview, which is that 15 of Forrester. He's caught up with Eli Comerford.
What's up, Colin? First off, congrats on the P3 finish. Amazing display there today. A little bit of a quiet day for you, but still a good one at that. I want to ask you, we were so focused on that battle for the lead there between those two. Take me with you with your race and how everything played out and how you were able to manage that top 3 finish.
Well, start out, kind of blew my qualifying lap because I got a X at the end of my very first lap and probably would have been on pole, but you know how that goes. I kind of started P3, lost spot on the start because I suck at starts on road courses, and then I felt super good over the long run. I think long run was really my strong suit, and then kind of just got to me and Dahari. He would pit like a lap or two before me, and then he got like 3-4 second lead on me, and I'd kind of slowly but surely kind of come crawling back down. And then that last run, it was definitely the longest run, it felt like. Everybody was using their tires, everybody was losing their rears. Even when I was talking to Steven, he said he was losing the rears too. So I think everybody was just pushing a little hard. And then last lap, might have dumped Dahari on accident. It was kind of a 50-50 deal going into the hairpin. I shot low, he kind of came down, but it's more so my fault than his, but just kind of racing into this road course. I mean, it's so hard to pass everywhere, and that's really like one of the few passing zones if no one makes a mistake. So it just kind of had to send it there.
Yeah, definitely a long, grueling race, but overall, good day for you, especially for the points as we get closer to that in-season challenge. And overall, as we get closer to the postseason, I believe after this race, you move up 10 points in the standings. That puts you into 18th spot, creeping in a little closer towards that top 10. As we get closer to the in-season challenge as well as the end of the regular season, is there any tracks on the schedule? Granted, or 1 or 2 tracks, or even more that you're looking forward to go ahead and hopefully pick up some more points, and hopefully we can see your name near that top 10 come the end of the season.
Well, definitely look forward to Chicagoland. I know that's in the chase, but Chicagoland's always been like one of my favorite tracks on the sim, so, and one of my best. So definitely look forward to that track. Probably Indi- Indianapolis is such a weird track, but I feel like I'm always oddly good there for some reason. And obviously Volusia is gonna be well, I don't even know. It's gonna be a race. It'll be an all-time race, for good or for worse. Volusia will be interesting. Don't even own it. Never even touched it. Don't even know how it drives. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. We also have another road course on that schedule. We know you're good as you proved it here today on those road courses. But overall, great day for you. So congrats on that P3 finish and congrats on all those points you gained. Before I let you go, is there anyone you want to thank? Any teammates or anybody that makes this whole thing possible for you?
I'd like to give a shout out to teammates Daniel and AJ. AJ kind of sucked and wrecked, I'm pretty sure. Daniel stuck it out and got a nice finish for himself. He's not the best on road courses, but P25 is not super bad. He's kind of more of a endurance guy.
Thank you for the interview there, and yeah, we agree with that. Go Jaguars. So, with that being said,
Yeah,
we've talked
I don't
with
know.
our. I know Nate will disagree with that. He'll.
You know.
but it's okay. We love to disagree up here in the booth, and we like to talk sports. Football season's back. Baseball season's getting into its thick of things with the postseason coming around in October. We still have a lot of things to cover here on the KBueno Racing Network here from the KBRN Truck Series as things will begin to take shape and move forward over to the next time out, where we'll be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where we go back to oval racing, and that time from the 1 mile Magic Mile, as we have seen this past weekend in the real life side of Truck Series action and in Cup Series action. So we get to watch these drivers navigate this racetrack for the first time in series history for 150 laps on August 31st. That's next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, before we head over to Charlotte Motor Speedway, a patriotic themed night there in Charlotte, like we have been here tonight, but that will be for the oval for one of our longest races of the season at 150 laps, and it should be fun. Nate, any thoughts here as we exit the oval?
We had a great race, and I think we saw two guys that plan to contend for a championship really have a bit of a coming out party here at the Charlotte Roval. We'll see, of course, how many races Ethan's able to make it to. That's been what's gotten in his way the last couple of years, but nonetheless, fantastic driver. Steven Maggio with a fantastic drive as well in this one, and I think we're in for a good another couple of weeks.
And Eli, for yourself, what are also some of the key takeaways for after this race?
Yeah, definitely those points. Great finish for Maggio, able to solidify him within those point standings. Also, with the 88 truck being out of here, unfortunate to lose those points as well as the points from last week. So we'll see how he's able to climb his way back up. But we know that he's a driver very well capable of doing such a thing, and we know he's been fast thus far. But I'm just super pleased with what we saw today. Such an amazing battle as we've seen consistently within this season 3 of the KBRN Truck Series. Great race to call, great race to watch. I hope everyone at home watching enjoyed it. And that's just a bit of a taste of what we have upcoming for this season. Obviously, next we have New Hampshire, super fun racetrack. And right after that starts the in-season challenge. So be on the lookout for the seating for that. I'm sure we'll post that on the Instagram once New Hampshire concludes and all that stuff gets figured out. And then obviously throughout there, you have the in-season challenge. You have a racetrack like Volusia. When we talked about this schedule earlier, Francisco, I said with the variety of tracks, you got to look out for those Swiss Army knife drivers, the guys who are consistently good on all sorts of racing surfaces, lengths, and configurations. And I think we saw that today with like the one of Maggio and the 74 Moreno. Like the 74 Moreno, a consistently good driver, didn't get the wins, got that one today because he's a driver who's able to show up week in and week out regardless of what type of track we're at. So I'm going to stand on that point with the variety of tracks we have. Look out for those Swiss Army knife drivers, if you will. Obviously, in the in-season challenge, we have Volusia. Rockingham's going to be fun. We have Talladega. Who knows how that's going to go? Should be a fun one to call. And also in the chase, we have another road course, Canadian Tire. We've seen the type of shows that these drivers have been able to put on those road courses, and having one in the playoffs is going to be huge, especially for those drivers that are consistently good at every single type of track. That gives them an opportunity to give them a boost come the playoffs. So Francisco, just overall happy with the way this race played out today. Super exciting to call, and just super excited for the rest of this season.
It should be fun to continue to watch as the season progresses, as it begins to take form. We continue to move on through our regular season, our mid-season challenge, and all of that is going to be fun to watch. And that'll bring us to this next portion of our post-race show before we sign off here. This also was the last time that we will have our Nate Polite up here in the booth. Nate, your careers continue to go up and beyond, and we couldn't be happier for you to continue to grow and continue to do the things that you enjoy. We've enjoyed your time in the booth ever since you made your debut in this series back at Nashville in season number 1. We've been on the journey all the way to the championship in season 1 with Justin Rock getting it done, and the entirety of season number 2. And we've had you for this beginning portion of season number 3, but now it is your farewell, not permanently, but we will miss you up here in the booth, and we'll just let you have the floor to say whatever you want to say here to the audience, to everybody that watches our shows on the weekly.
Yeah, it's been a blast, and Monday nights and even Thursday nights with the SAC Cup Series as well have just been super fun. to be in the booth for, talking racing and getting to take a look at some of the best iRacers that we've got do battle on a week-to-week basis. It's been a really good time, and I've really appreciated the opportunities. And it's just time to take the next step forward. And hopefully one day I'll be back in this seat and be able to lend my voice once again.
We appreciated your time up here in the booth, Nay, and I know Eli has been joining us for the last couple of weeks, but it won't be the same without you here. We've come accustomed to your voice, to your presence, to your analyst abilities here, and your play-by-play in the SAC Cup Series. Whatever the future holds, we hope that it is success, and we know it'll be successful. You're a great young man, and you will get it done. So we appreciate everything you've done with us here on the KBueno Racing Network. I know everybody else, including our colleagues here, will agree and second my opinion. So we appreciate everything you've done, and we can't wait to see what the future has in store for you.
Thank you, Francisco. I appreciate it. I really do.
And now, with that being said, we appreciate everybody that has joined us on this Monday night for more KBueno Racing Network Truck Series action here from the Charlotte Roval, where Ethan Fonseca Moreno took the victory over Steven Maggio. If you want to watch some more Truck Series action, be sure to join us next Monday night at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it. And we'll have the Drop and Hammer Cup Series action, the chase from the Homestead Miami Speedway. That'll be Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Still a little bit determined on it whether it's myself or Kenneth on the call, but be sure that we may have that broadcast for you. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern here on the KBueno Racing Network from the Homestead Miami Speedway before our Monday night show. And that'll do it here from us on the KBRN Truck Series. And we like to give a shout out to all the admins and everybody on KBRN that helps make this happen. From Kenneth Bueno, who was not able to join us this evening, but we wish him the best in all he's doing over at iRacing. With Charlie Byer, who is out there on the racetrack, Keelan Bilsha, Alexander Schumacher, Randy Eggers, JJ Hill, and our colleagues in the booth in Nate Polite. We thank you so much for joining us for all this time, and Eli Comerford, who looks to make it more of a mainstay. I am Francisco Bacallao, saying so long and have a good night. Congratulations to Ethan Fonseca Moreno on his second career victory into New Hampshire.